Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Very excited to be here. More excited than usual. Why? I asked you guys in a community post on YouTube what video you would like to see next. Unfortunately, I got an underwhelming amount of responses. I think only like maybe 3 or 4 people answered that post. But we had one person, and while I appreciate all of the responses, one person had a great video idea that was not a Diamond Gym video. You guys know that I put out a ton of Diamond Gym content because you guys asked me to do so. But since I have not received one person asking me to react to their latest video where they trained with Big Boy, I'm not going to put it out because I only do it when you guys ask me to. This has been a reoccurring thing. So you guys let me know in the comments, community posts, DMs on Instagram, what you'd like to see from me. And I really, truly appreciate the responses because they allow me to know where I can do, what I can do for you guys to make you guys happy with the channel and things of that nature. Now, one of those responses today was, would I please react and explain Sam Sulek's most recent video? That most recent video is Prep Show Q&A. So that's what we're going to be responding to today. I'm going to be going through the list of questions that Sam responds to and then giving my thoughts on those questions to add a little extra insight because apparently Sam explains some stuff, but maybe he doesn't get into full-on detail. It's only about a 20-minute video, I believe. So, of course, maybe he didn't have the time to get into a whole bunch of stuff. So I hope you guys find this content valuable. If you do, please like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be hanging out with Sam Sulek in a nice, relaxed car atmospheric environment.
Louis Bello-P9I. How do you deal with stretch marks from bulking? What really bothers me about them is seeing guys that get none. Meanwhile, I've got them everywhere. I'd say don't stress. I'd say don't worry about it. Because also they're just going to fade over time. I mean, it might depend on your skin pigmentation, but I've had like very visible, like across the shoulder stretch marks where when they were fresh, they're kind of like new and pink. Kind of just, fade out. Like, I don't even really see the ones that I have anymore.
All right, so we had this gentleman ask Sam, how do you deal with stretch marks while you're bulking? Now, I found that to be a very interesting question. Typically, when people bulk, people are eating a ton of food because that's the bulk part, and they're training very, very heavy. Now, this stretch marks happen to anybody, right? Some people, they don't happen to at all. Some people, they do. Everybody's body is different. This gentleman specifically mentioned getting stretch marks while bulking. Now, that's kind of a loaded question because when many people bulk, they're eating a ton of food, right? You have different types of bulks. You have more like controlled bulks. You have dirty bulks. That wasn't specified. Stretch marks happen typically when the skin, the collagen in the skin, can't keep up with the growth. It doesn't have a chance. So also, remember, this is a very nuanced question. There's a lot to talk about here. You can get stretch marks from overeating. Okay, this person mentioned a bulk. Usually people are doing dirty bulks, eating tons of food that they really genuinely don't need to be eating, and they're training. Those stretch marks can come from bulking because of weight, like fat, or they can come from if you grow muscle at an extremely rapid rate. Typically, younger people, when they start to train, they might get stretch marks because you're in a really great growth stage of your life, okay? So I don't know how old this person is, but when you're very young and you train, many people get stretch marks like here because their body's growing very fast. The muscle grows very fast. If you're older, and maybe even if you're not older, again, very nuanced question. When you're on drugs, you're going to get stretch marks because of muscle. So it can be whether you're very young or even if you're older. If you're young, you're in a growth state. Your body's creating its own hormones or its own steroids, its natural steroids, for you to be in a great place to grow. If you're taking drugs, your muscles can grow very quickly, very large, very fast, and your body can't keep up. The skin cannot keep up. Also, if you're eating a lot, that can cause stretch marks. So, as you can see, there's a lot going on here. For this particular gentleman, I'm going to just assume maybe they're not on drugs, right? Let's just assume they're not on drugs. They could be getting stretch marks from eating too much. They didn't mention where the stretch marks were. Could be on their stomach. Could be on their arms, their chest. The skin can't keep up. So what's some things that you might be able to do in order to prevent stretch marks? Because Sam said don't really worry about it. The pink will eventually fade and stuff like that. It's true. Eventually it will. But if you could try to avoid stretch marks altogether, I think that's the better way to go about things. Who wants permanent stretch tattoos? You know what I'm saying? That's essentially what they are, because they don't always go away and they make your skin look a little bit weird. I know, because I used to be close to 300 pounds. When I lost weight, I had stretch marks, and the skin is never the same. Even if your skin tightens up again, you'll see little ripples in your skin. It's not the coolest thing. So what can you guys do to prevent that? The first thing you guys can do is take vitamin C, okay? Make it a part of your stack. Just like you take your pre-workout before you train, take vitamin C. Very, very good stuff. What vitamin C is going to do is it's going to allow for collagen synthesis within your skin. Collagen is going to grow. It might be able to keep up with the growth better. Okay? Another thing is you can actually take collagen supplements. All right? Some supplements will contain vitamin C. Depends on the supplements you're taking, but many of them will. But you can also supplement with vitamin C on the side. So collagen supplements, whether those are from plant or animal, and vitamin C. Excellent in order to help your skin. And if you have stretch marks or want to try to avoid stretch marks, something that's also been experimented with in the past with many people is hyaluronic acid. What that's going to do is it's going to help to speed up the transition of the pink and purple lines into more of a white line that matches your skin tone. Maybe not a white line, but it depends on what color you are, but a color that will match your skin tone a little bit better, faster than waiting years and years and years for those stretch marks to fade. Hyaluronic acid is very good for your skin. It may actually help to prevent the stretch marks altogether. Another thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you're hydrated, okay? This is very important because many people are not hydrated enough. When you're hydrated, your skin handles growth better, okay? If your skin is brittle, it's going to crack and break and you're going to see those stretch marks. That's what your skin is doing. It's tearing apart. So being hydrated is going to help you to be able to prevent many times altogether stretch marks. Drink tons and tons of water. When you're bodybuilding, when you're powerlifting, in your everyday life, even if you're not doing that stuff, being hydrated is very, very important for you guys, okay? So drink tons and tons of water. Very important. Another thing that you're going to want to do is making sure that you have enough electrolytes, okay? You want enough sodium and potassium, and that's going to pull water into your skin cells to help to hydrate them. You can drink water all day, but if you don't have enough sodium, potassium, enough electrolytes in general, like maybe perhaps from an electrolyte supplement or from your food, that water is not going to be able to work properly, and it's going to literally go into your body and right out without doing most of what it needs to do for your skin, for the rest of your organs in general. So electrolytes are very important. On top of that, what you can do is you can hydrate your skin from the outside. What might you want to try to use? Personally, I like to use something called MCT oil, specifically MCT number 8, okay? I think it's referred to as C8. That's going to help to hydrate your skin. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. And when you use this oil, it's anti-inflammatory. It hydrates your skin, and it does so with most people, if you're not using too much, with almost to practically zero clogging of the pores, okay? You might think this is oil, it's going to clog my pores. It's a very thin oil. That's why you need the MCT 8. Very, very thin oil. That oil is going to help you to be able to hydrate your skin without getting acne, all right? This is a very specific oil, very valuable. It's not exactly cheap, and many times you'll see that it's food grade. You might not be able to find it specifically for your skin in many places. Food grade oil is perfectly fine as long as it's this type. This is a coconut oil that's been ultra refined, and it's had all of the pore clogging ingredients removed, leaving you with a very pure, thin, hydrating oil that helps prevent bacteria and also helps reduce inflammation and keeps your skin hydrated. And the best thing that I can tell you guys is not to dirty bulk, because many times when people are bulking, they're not getting stretch marks from their muscle growing, unless of course, again, they're on performance enhancing drugs. They're getting the tearing of the skin, the stretch marks, because they're eating too much and their body is gaining a ton of weight very, very quickly. So if you could avoid that altogether, you guys don't need a lot of extra calories to bulk. I know it makes it easier and it's more fun to have more food, but you really genuinely don't need it. You don't. You just need enough to make up for what your body is using on the muscle growth building end. That's the idea behind a bulk. So you guys let me know what your experience in this subject matter is. Leave it in the comments to help others.
77.7. What's going to be your first meal after your show? Best of luck. Can't wait to see you compete. Thank you for that. But I'm not I'm not, it's not like it's strict up till showtime and then I can eat whatever, because Thursday night, I'm going to have so much like different carbs and sweets and everything. That'll kind of be my fill. My post-show meal will probably just be something basic, like a bunch of, like a big steak or like some tuna or something. I'm going to try to lean heavier on just the carbs and protein side of things and not eat anything like super crazy fatty, just because it'll make me feel kind of gross. But I'd say probably a steak. Probably a steak is going to be the first real meal post-show. Either that or a bunch of sashimi. That would be good.
All right, so Sam says he's not really worried too much about his post-show meal, and the reason why is because he's going to be carb loading in advance. He says he's going to be eating a ton of sweets, a ton of carbs in advance. So he's kind of getting his fill the night before the show. Now, why is Sam going to be eating a lot of this stuff? The reason why Sam's going to be eating a lot of this stuff is because he's been cutting carbs for quite a long time, I'm going to assume, coming up to his show. The reason why he's cutting carbs is because he's trying to pull water out from under the skin, because he wants to lose weight, lose water weight, fat in general. He's trying to get rid of the glycogen and all that stuff. But he's going to have to put it back before the show, because if he doesn't, he's going to end up looking very flat. So the night before, at a very strategic time, remember, Sam is doing all this without a trainer. Last time I checked, he's training himself. The guy is doing absolutely amazing. And just so you know, in case I didn't mention in the beginning of this, I am not saying I know better than Sam. I'm simply elaborating on what I can based on my experience with this stuff to try to help you guys, all right? I'm not saying I know more than Sam. I'm not saying I'm better than Sam. I am not, okay? So just keep that in mind. But he's going to be compensating for all the carbohydrates the night before of the show, compensating in order to get a pop back into him, okay? He's very flat right now because he's been cutting those carbs. He's got to put the carbs back. So he's going to be eating a ton of carbs in order to pull the water that he consumes into his body. The carbs are going to suck the water up and create a fullness in his body. He's going to be able to look much more 3D after he carb loads the night before. Now, the thing that Sam is going to have to be careful of is he doesn't want to drink too much water or eat too many carbs in advance that night. It's very hard to determine because everybody is different. Everybody's body reacts differently to carbohydrates and things of that nature. I remember when I cut down to 145 pounds, ripped. If I ate a drop of carbs, my body just soaked it up. And while I looked more full and felt much better, I also lost a lot of definition. So everybody's body is different. If you take in too much water and too many carbs, you're going to end up having the water leak out from the glycogen because you're going to have an overabundance of water, and it's going to go underneath the skin, and it's going to make you look very smooth and like blurry looking, kind of foggy looking. You're not going to be able to see all that definition. Now, something that Sam, I don't know if he does this or if he might want to do or you guys might want to do is take glucose disposal agents, something like berberine, okay? I don't know if you ever heard of that, but they basically act like, well, they kind of force the carbs into the muscle and prevent the spilling over from happening. So they're not like a miracle drug. But they're going to do a lot in order to keep you from spilling over. So something that he might want to do is check into that kind of stuff. You guys might have seen Larry Wheels in the past where post-show, Larry went crazy on eating whatever he wanted. I forget how much weight he said he gained, but the dude showed us his ankles. He had indentations in his ankles by his socks. That is called edema. That is really, really bad. Sam's post-show meal is an excellent idea. Eating a steak, phenomenal. Apparently, he feels like he's going to have the self-control to not just eat everything, even after having dieted so hard. This man's determination is incredible. His self-control is incredible. We've seen it in the past. He does very, very well when it comes to stuff like this. So I do believe he'll be able to do it. But if you do eat too much post-show too much too quickly, you're going to end up holding on to a ton of water, and that's going to cause the rapid swelling known as edema. So you kind of want to reverse diet after a show in order to prevent all of the health problems that can end up coming. The edema is terrible for your overall health, but specifically for your heart. Very, very bad. And it doesn't go away very quickly. So it puts a lot of stress onto your body, and you've already gone through a ton of stress with the prep in general. So you want to try to avoid that as much as possible.
Sugar is not the issue for me. Energy is my biggest struggle. How do you manage fatigue? And does your intake of stimulants, energy drink, pre-workout, etc., increase during prep? It most certainly does. It most certainly freaking does. I've got I've kind of had a little bit of a combo in terms of upping my caffeine, because now I'm not doing just a regular workout where I would, have pre-workout involved. I'm doing my regular lift, a second session of cardio, or I guess just, a post-workout cardio session, and then another second session later in the day. So before each of those, I'm kind of gonna, throw some caffeine in the mix. So before the workout, just a regular scoop of protein, or what am I saying, scoop of pre-workout. Usually not too crazy. Like I don't get much more out of like 500 milligrams of caffeine than 200 just for the lift, because these lifts are a little bit more chill right now anyway. They're not like super crazy heavy or anything. But for the cardio, I've got at my gym, I've got a whole bunch of 3D energy cans of just like, every flavor sitting on my picnic table. And when I'm done with my lift, and I either head home to do cardio in the basement or like stop at one of the public gyms around here just because I like doing cardio with people around, I'm grabbing one of those. So I'm having a post-workout pre-cardio caffeine dose. And then pre-cardio for the second session, I'll do the same thing, just about 200 milligrams or so. I've got a little Nespresso, like instant coffee sort of thing. So what I've been doing is some of the, I think if it's not s'mores flavor, then it's cookies and cream, but I'm pretty sure it's the raw bum isolate cookies and cream flavor. So what I've been doing is half a scoop of that into the mug, and then adding just 1 unit of coffee and then a bunch of liquid sweetener, just so it doesn't have the extra carbs. So it's kind of, I mean, really, it's not like there's anything special about having that protein in protein shake form, but it does kind of make it a little bit more of like a creamier kind of coffee. So that's kind of been like my caffeine treat of choice. But yeah, I definitely up my my stimulant intake. And apart from that, I mean, yeah, it kind of, you just get a little more tired, you know, but I'd say just try to get in the zone when you need to be, and then get completely out of the zone when you don't need to be, you know. So when you walk into the gym, you know, even if you're feeling a little bit, you know, you're dragging your feet, whatever, just try to get a TikTok edit going that gets you amped. Pick a song, you know, just like tell yourself like, all right, come on, let's just get freaking real here. I'm already in the gym. But when you're at home and like it's actually time to go to bed, or, you know, you just got like an hour where you can, okay, maybe I'll take a nap right now or something, totally turn it off and just completely try to rest. So it's like you're either on or you're off. That's what I've been trying to do. And I think it's been working.
I really love and appreciate the fact that Sam brought up music, okay? Music, or like he said something about a TikTok or something that's going to get you going or whatever. Those are really great ways to get you motivated and give you energy without drugs. So you want to try your best to not use drugs until you actually genuinely need them. If you can get your dopamine and get your energy outside of drugs, those are the absolute most phenomenal ways to do it. But of course, they're not going to carry you through in general. Sam mentioned you're going to be very tired. I remember when I cut down again to 145 pounds, I was relying on so much caffeine, and my caffeine intake was from the morning all the way up into the evening. It's not healthy, but it's something that's kind of necessary sometimes. Not telling you to do it, but it's dangerous, right? It's not good for your health. Not telling you to do it, but it's kind of, depending on your goal, you might have to do something like that. So there are a couple of things that you can try to do to mitigate and do what Sam said. Try to be in the zone and then not in the zone as much as possible. Some of those things are by not exactly relying on the highest dose of caffeine from day one. Now, what many people will do is they'll see on their pre-workout, it's going to say 2 scoops, right? And they take the 2 scoops. Eventually, those 2 scoops end up not doing what they used to do, right? Now, maybe you might need 3 scoops. Now, all of a sudden, you may need 2 scoops and a cup of coffee. And as you add in more caffeine into the mix, what happens is your receptors become dull to the stimulant. They become dull. So it's not going to work the same way. You need more and more and more in order to be able to get the same effect that you used to get, even from half a scoop of pre-workout. So the best advice I can give is don't rely on the heaviest dose of a stimulant or any drug. Rely on the amount you need to get the desired result at the time. You taper up. It's like progressive overload in the gym, right? Start off low and then move your way up as you see fit. It's progressive overloading with your stimulants, with your supplementation, all right? Very, very important. You want to not have to taper down, but taper up. That's what you want to do. Start off low, taper up from there. Take the stimulant only when you actually need it. Very, very important. And for the rest of the time, like Sam said, well, you just kind of deal with it being a little bit tired. It sucks. It really sucks. But if you can avoid over-relying in the beginning, you'll be able to carry that stimulant at the lowest levels possible all the way through, which is going to be better for you later on. What this is going to also help you to do is when you take tons of caffeine, your central nervous system goes crazy. It increases cortisol, and cortisol, as you guys know, is going to, or may not know, I don't know, it actually can cause a lot of different problems. You feel fried, you feel extra tired, you crash, and your body also, many times, and everybody's body acts a little differently, but many times it's also going to cause more water to accumulate in your body. You're going to be more watery. So by taking smaller amounts and kind of sneaking it past your central nervous system, because it's so slow, there's no huge spikes in your CNS system, you're going to end up being able to kind of mitigate that wateriness that might come along with the high cortisol, because maybe your cortisol never gets that high. Now, there's other things you can do as well to give yourself energy that maybe you want to combine with the caffeine, or maybe start off with instead of the caffeine. Do a mix so you're not taking a ton of caffeine, you're supplementing with other things at the same time. So for example, L-theanine, that's going to help you to bridge. If you want to take less caffeine and then you combine that with L-theanine, not only will that help to calm your CNS system and take away the jittery, fried feeling that sometimes caffeine gives to people, but it's also going to give you clean energy. By itself, it's going to give you clean energy. Many very good pre-workouts actually have L-theanine in it already to help combat the jitteriness that caffeine might cause you, okay? So things like L-theanine is a natural way to give yourself energy so you don't have to rely on caffeine, even though caffeine's natural, but it's more of like a less natural feeling kind of a thing, okay? So you can kind of bridge the gap with that. Another thing that you can try to do is, I forget how do you say it? It's Raoulcine, something along those lines. I always screw up the name, but it's a great supplement that you can take that's going to give you energy. May make you feel a little bit cracked out depending on who you are, how much you take, things of that nature. Again, everybody's different, but it's not caffeine is the point. It's going to give you tons of energy, and it's going to be able to bridge the gap. So you need less caffeine. You can combine it with caffeine. You can, remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. You guys do your own research, okay? But you can combine it with caffeine. You can take it on its own. Perhaps one day you take caffeine, the next day you don't, and you down-regulate your system, and you take the Raoulcine, however you say it, you take that instead. That's another way to do it. You want to bypass your receptors becoming fried and overly dependent if you can. That's going to help with your energy levels being more clean and steady. It's going to help you from having to increase the dosages all the time. Really, really interesting stuff. You can do a lot in order to try to save energy. But at the end of the day, when you're cutting, you're going to be tired, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be exhausted. You can see in this video, Sam looks very exhausted. Of course, he did just do cardio, but at the same time, that's also just because he's not eating as much as he normally would. He's putting his body through hell. His show is not far off. So, he's going through a nightmare right now.
Agner475, has there ever been a point in your career where you've thought about quitting? And if so, when? And what got you through it? So define career, like I there hasn't been a moment where I post all these videos where I thought, I don't want to post these anymore. But if we're just talking like the gym in general, like starting off, sophomore high school to now, no, not really. And that's where I think I'm just super spoiled, because I just like to lift, everything about it is very appealing to me. Just like walking around, knowing I'm pretty strong, just coming into the gym and training, and just like not the gutturalness, but like just the animalistic is a little bit of a stretch, but just like the brute forceness of coming in, getting a lift, throwing some shit around, the feeling, just like being pumped, seeing yourself bigger. And whatever other kind of like dopaminergic response that I get from training, like I just shit, man, I don't know, it just clicks. Like it's never felt like a chore to get a pump from day one to now, and I hope it never does, because things are going rather well, and I'd hate for to like lose that passion. But I couldn't even imagine what it would feel like to do that. So let's just freaking knock on wood and hope we get smooth sailing going forward.
I've personally been training since I was about 15 years old. I absolutely love it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I look better. Overall, my life is better. It's the one thing that I've really held on to. I've been through a lot of phases in my life, but training has never been one of them. It's been something that's helped me to sleep at night, because if I don't train, I don't sleep. I'm awake all night. I need to get my energy out some way. And I feel like it's a very productive way that also helps benefit me throughout my everyday life. I've never wanted to quit or thought of quitting, but the fear of having to quit has actually come into my mind. Now, Sam is a very young guy right now, and he's obviously full of a lot of drugs. He takes drugs. He's been open about that in the past. So his circumstances are way different than me. I'm almost 40 years old. I think I'm 38 or 39 years old, something like that. I don't pay attention. I try not to. But injuries. As you get older, you're going to see your body is not the same. Sam, I don't know if he's been through any crazy injuries yet, but at some point, likely, he probably will be. And that sucks. And I hope he never has to deal with that. He probably has, though, honestly. He probably has. I don't follow him that closely to know if he's been injured, but very likely he has. Very likely. So that's the one thing. That and time. Now, Sam, he's sponsored. I don't know by who, but I already know he's sponsored by somebody, right? So he has the ability to not have to likely work a regular job and can only solely focus on training. I don't have that ability. I'm not sponsored by anybody. You know, I have to work. I have to take care of a family. I have responsibilities. Not saying he doesn't, but we all have different circumstances, right? Life sometimes gets in the way. And when life gets in the way, I can't train. And so that kills me. It makes me feel like garbage. It makes me feel terrible. So the only two things in my life that have prevented me in the past from training are getting too busy or injuries. And you want to try to mitigate both of those. So proper training, proper warming up, super huge, and allocating a certain amount of time to your sessions are really important. Now, I'm at a point in my life where I'm not necessarily trying to get bigger. I'm really genuinely not. I have good days and bad days. Again, I'm older and I have a lot of stuff to do. So my time in the gym is actually much more limited than what it used to be. But training and trying to keep your size is very different than training and trying to grow, okay? Very different. You can spend a lot less time in the gym and stay looking the same way, holding on to your gains very, very well, as long as you continue to eat properly, and you just do enough to keep your gains on the table. You could probably cut your sets in half if you wanted to. If you're trying to get bigger, that's another story. I don't have the time to try to get bigger these days, so I'm just happy with the way I am. I have good days and I had bad days. Sometimes I miss the gym. It sucks. It is what it is. But it allows me to still be able to have some happiness in my life while not cutting it out completely.
Aiden Goes Ham 3970. Are there any mistakes you've made or changes that you would make for the next competition? I guess if there are, we're going to find out, you know, because I'm doing the Arnold in Columbus on Friday, so that's on the 6th. And then there's the Arnold UK 3 weeks later, you know, over across the pond. So if there's something I have to change between this show and the next show, maybe a posing thing, maybe, you know, I don't even know, well, then I'll make the adjustment, you know, I'll be good. So I can't tell you what mistakes I'm going to make, but if I do, I'll try to adjust. Locked in. How to get excited to do legs. I'm excited to go to the gym for any upper body part, but I just have no drive to train legs like I do with my upper body. I still train legs, by the way. Now that is an important... Train legs like I do with my upper body. I still train legs, by the way. Screw it, and then they work out with pants on and they're good. They don't even worry about it. What gets me going, especially, well, I don't know. I mean, I've kind of got a very distinct two states of training legs. One, right now when I'm dieting and all I need to do is maintain them as I get leaner, my leg training intensity out of every body part drops way down. Like I can maintain my legs with just leg extensions, hamstring curls, like light RDL, stuff like that, very well. You know, like in 3 months when I start eating food again, my squat and my overall like quads, it's all going to be exactly where it was before, even though I haven't been squatting super heavy or really squatting at all for like the last 6 months. So I'm either kind of like having maintenance leg training, which is just still cool because I get a pump, and actually really I get a quad pump. I get to enjoy training them. Or I'm in an off season and I'm trying to completely thrash them to bits, and I'm really kind of killing it, and I'm trying to get stronger, and I'm throwing a lot of weight around. You know, I'm doing like 5-plate squats or like Smith squats and leg press and whatever else. And like the intensity of the workouts is what gets me going. Like, all right, I want to go harder than I ever have before is like the goal, you know. But if you might just need to somehow find something about legs that gets you excited, you know. Look up watch somebody train legs who you like. Watch some Tom Platz videos. Watch some Clarence Kennedy squatting, you know, like stuff like that. That gets me going, and that makes me want to train legs even harder. Like seeing somebody else go ham, and then I get to say, all right, yeah, I'm going to see what I can do. Something like that, you know. But beyond that, partially, you just kind of have to figure it out.
I love Sam's attitude, man. He's like, beyond that, you're just going to have to figure it out. Just like with the stretch marks. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it. You know, this guy's great, man. All right, so I totally know, I think most guys know where this gentleman who asked this question is coming from. Men don't really like to train legs too much. Not all men. Some men do it and love it, and this gentleman does it. For me, there was a point in my life where I did not want to train legs. And I didn't. I didn't train legs. It didn't matter because I had pants on. You know what I mean? So it didn't matter. But once you start training your legs, like this gentleman already is, the one who asked the question, like he already is, you start to see, if you're training them with intensity, that they're growing. You're seeing the striations. You're seeing the muscle build. You're seeing the shape. You're seeing the 3D-ness of your quads. All of those things get me more driven to want to do legs. Another thing that helps me want to do legs, and remember, this is all based on your goals. If you don't have the goal to train legs, well, I'm not trying to be a bad influence on you, but you don't have to train legs. It's not the best thing, right? Because you want to try to be in proportion. You want your muscles to be strong overall and things of that nature. But beyond that, if it's not your goals, you really don't have to do it. But another thing that makes me want to train legs is I know that if I have my leg muscles larger, I'm going to maintain my weight better, okay? The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest because your body is feeding the muscles. Your muscles are very greedy. They want everything from you. And if you feed them right, you're going to be able to maintain them. And if you train them right, you're going to be able to grow and maintain or grow, whatever you want to do, right? So that's another thing that makes me want to do it. But the biggest thing that I can ask for this gentleman, that I would recommend to this gentleman, is, I don't know, again, he said he kind of trains legs already, so maybe this would be only for you guys. But if you want to train your legs and you currently aren't, walk around in shorts if you can. Walk around in shorts. Very soon, you're going to start to feel self-conscious. Very soon, you're probably going to have somebody be like, train legs, and then just like run off. You know what I'm saying? That's happened to me when I was training my legs, by the way. But I guess my upper body's had many years of a head start because I did ignore them for very long. So my upper body is a lot larger than my legs. But at the end of the day, walk around in shorts. Very soon after, you're going to be wanting to train legs because you're not going to want to have to deal with hearing comments like that. You're going to feel like, I gotta step up my game. That's my opinion on that.
Alcohol 6289, no question, just an update on my body transformation. You commented on it in a fall 2024 Q&A. Inspired by your dedication, I dieted from 225 to 135 between 2023 and 2025. Trained for and ran an ultra marathon, and now I'm on my first bulk, up 20 pounds, lifting hard. A few more months and I'll be ready to cut. Thanks for just doing your thing. Seeing someone happy to put in the work has been a big help. That is fucking badass. And you know what the craziest part is? That's over a few year time span. You know, this isn't like, oh, I locked in for 3 weeks. Like, this guy fucking made that shit happen. That's actually making me pretty freaking excited. And 225 to 135, I wish YouTube could let you comment photos too to see like a before and after, because that's pretty freaking substantial. And then an ultra marathon, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. I'm having enough trouble as it is just doing my, hour and a half or like 2 hours of cardio in a day. I can't even imagine a freaking ultra marathon. But you're already up 20 pounds in a bulk. Shit, man, keep going. I can guarantee that that's not 20 pounds of fat either. You're actually getting some size. Yeah, YouTube's got to add freaking photos to these comments. That's for sure.
That weight loss is phenomenal. And I just want to say this. You got a lot of people. I like Sam a lot. I think he's cool. I think he's a good guy. I don't care that he's on drugs. Many people do. Many people say that Sam Sulek is like the worst thing to happen. And people like Sam Sulek is like the worst thing to happen to the fitness industry. I just want to point out what Sam was able to do for this gentleman. He was able to get this gentleman motivated, regardless of his steroid use. Sam, he was able to get this gentleman motivated to lose a ton of weight. That is phenomenal. That man's life changed because of Sam's work. Congratulations to that gentleman, and congratulations to Sam, because I can only imagine how good Sam feels. In fact, I know how good Sam feels because I've had people who I've trained in the past come to me and say, Joe, I did exactly what you did because of what you told me, and my entire life has changed, and that makes me feel amazing. So keep doing it, guys. You can do it. My transformation, again, I was at close to 300 pounds, down to 145, happened in around 8 or 9 months. So I'm not telling you if that's good or bad. The fact is that's just what happened, okay? Bodybuilding, simultaneously losing weight. I was able to like recomp, all right? Everybody's definition of recomp is a little different, but I was able to, in my opinion, that's a recomp for the most part. And, maybe not because the weight changed, whatever. The point is, I was able to change my life in a matter of 9 months with dedication. And most of that dedication came from YouTube, watching other people, random people. I never watched Sam, to be honest, because I always held him in a different category as me. I shouldn't, because again, he can give motivation. But I was able to have that drive from YouTube, from people on YouTube. So you guys can do it too. Change your lives today if that's what you want.
Blocks Boy 12112. What's the best advice you have for new lifters that you think they typically miss? So this is a phrase that's been kind of thrown around, and it's it's called analysis paralysis. The idea that like, okay, I need my routine to be so perfect. If I can't make it perfect, I don't even want to do it at all. Screw it, like just getting caught in this like ideological, like, okay, am I training right? Like, dude, are you training right by whose standards? There's no rules. So I'd say don't even fucking worry about like, are you doing the most, like just do a basic ass split and go from there. Push-pull legs, Arnold split, legs, chest and back, arms, 7 or 8 sets per body part, pick 3 different movements. It really doesn't have to be more complicated than that. And the more you do it, the more experience you get, and then the more you'll kind of be able to say like, okay, I know how this feels, and I know that it's been giving me this results. And you can kind of just start to, adjust accordingly, like you don't have to play by the book in the sense that like, oh, I have to do exactly what everyone else is doing. Like, no, don't even worry about it. The guy who trains consistently, actually, that's it. The guy who trains consistently is the guy who makes progress. So just focus on that consistency side. And if you're putting effort into the gym and like you're trying to improve, and as you're doing your sets, you're like thinking about your form, you're not just doing them mindlessly. You're going to get better at it over time. You're going to improve your effort. You're going to start to get a little bit more like specific with how hard you want to train. And things will just kind of snowball forward from there, So don't, you can start a forest fire with one match, right? Just start small and keep going. That keep going part is the most important.
Excellent, fantastic advice from Sam. Just be consistent. A lot of the time, again, like Sam mentioned, a lot of the time if people don't have it perfect, quote unquote perfect, they don't want to start and they feel paralyzed. Sam is absolutely right. You don't need everything perfect. What do you really genuinely need? You need consistency. You need protein. You need water. You need one caveat that Sam didn't mention that I think you need is you need to be longevity focused. Depending on the age of this gentleman, this person didn't say their age. They just started training. That's all we know. If they're older, you want to train appropriately for your age. If you're younger, you want to train appropriately for your age. You can get away with a lot more when you're younger than when you're older. Sam said there's no real rules. I have to say, While there's no real rules, there's better and worse ways to do things. When you're younger, you can get away with a lot more. But of course, what you're getting away with will catch up with you when you're older. So I recommend very good form. Not saying you can't cheat when cheating is appropriate, like at the end of a set or whatever the case is. Throw in a little bit of swing there, whatever. But no proper form. Warm up so that you guys don't end up injuring yourselves. Warming up goes a long way, guys. It also, I've mentioned it many times, not only does it prevent injury, but it helps you to be able to lift more during your working sets. So really, really good stuff. Longevity focused. That's my opinion. Okay? Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to go in the gym and I'm going to have a plan. He said just pick a split and do it. Many people, when they just start lifting, what they do is they just go in the gym and they just lift anything. On Monday, they're lifting 40 pounds. They're doing bicep curls, 40 pounds. Terrible form. They can barely lift it, but they think they're doing good, right? Now, Wednesday comes and they're ready to do biceps again. They forget what they lifted last time because they didn't write it down or they're not paying attention. And so now they're lifting 30 pounds. And then when the next time comes around, they're lifting 35 pounds. That's not really helping you to progress, right? You want to be able to start off, have a baseline, and work your way up. That's why you see people with their notepads in the gym. They're tracking their progress. So while I do get what Sam is saying, those caveats are things that I think would have helped me to progress a lot faster when I was younger. Having a consistency, understanding that longevity is important, and having a baseline. What did I do the last time I trained this muscle group with this movement on this machine or whatever the case is? That stuff is really valuable, guys. I know it sucks writing stuff down. Sometimes what you could do instead is take a photo of the machine and the weight stack so you know, put it in a separate folder in your phone. You can use electronic weights if you want. You can buy an electronic system that tracks the weights for you so that you don't have to worry about writing them down. You can do that. Those are home-based systems, so you won't be able to do that at a gym. And they're also more expensive, those systems. But if you buy a good brand, they should last you many years. Cuts down on travel time, cuts down on dealing with people. Great stuff about them. Great stuff about them. So those things I would have added, although I do believe that every bit of information Sam gave was excellent and very valuable.
Tips for someone who has needed to cut down due to being overweight, but is now worried about bulking because of being overweight all their life. That's where I might say maybe have a designated dieter. Instead of a designated driver, have somebody, just kind of be a little third person perspective, like not checking in on you like a coach, but just kind of telling you like, you're good, man. No, you're not that heavy. Because, you can get this kind of self-perception where you're looking at yourself in the mirror. We're all looking at edited photos of people on Instagram. It's pretty rough out there for sure. It's not like body dysmorphia just came out of nowhere, right? But if you're kind of concerned with putting on some body fat, well, just have somebody else kind of keep an eye on you and like listen to them if they really say like, dude, you're getting a little soft, man. You've been bulking a little too hard, but don't be so afraid to put some size on that you never make any progress either. So somewhere in the middle, you don't have to overdo it and go straight into like a perma bulk 2 gallons of chocolate milk a day. Like, eat enough that you're growing, but not so much that you're just storing pounds of body fat instantly, right? Because that'd just be a waste of time and energy.
Excellent advice again by Sam. Get someone else's perspective. Of course, that person's perspective needs to have your goal in mind. You want to speak to somebody who understands what you're going through. If you just talk to like your wife or your brother or your whoever, they might be like, "No, you look fine." You know what I mean? Or, "Oh, you're getting too fat." It depends on your goal. Now, something that this gentleman, I had to rewind the video like 3 or 4 times. I was having trouble understanding the question. Tips for someone who needs to diet down because they were overweight their whole life but now needs to bulk. My question is, where are you at now? Depending on where you're at now, many people think they need to bulk. This is a very serious thing, guys. Many people think they need to bulk to put on weight, but the fact is they're already overweight. You know what I'm saying? That's a very real thing. When you're training and you want to grow, you might think I need to bulk, but you might already be overweight. So if you're already overweight, don't change a thing. Maybe even want to lower the calories, like what I did. I cut calories while building muscle. I did it simultaneously. Okay? You can do it. That's not a myth. You can do it. Okay? I'm a living proof of that. If you're already overweight, you don't need to bulk in order to build muscle. You've already done the bulk. Okay? Many people want the excuse, oh, I need to bulk because they want to eat and it's fun. I get it. But you're just going to keep packing on weight because your muscle building is never going to delete all the fat that you accumulate from a dirty bulk or from being overweight. Okay? I've had people in the past tell me, oh, you know, I lost over 150 pounds by gaining muscle. No, you didn't. No, you did not. Are you on drugs? I've had women tell me this. Oh, I gained so much muscle that I lost all my weight. And then when I asked them questions like, so you didn't change anything else? You didn't start walking more? You didn't start doing cardio? You didn't start doing this? You didn't start that? They start to be like, oh, well, actually, yeah. Because muscle don't burn that much fat, guys. It burns fat. It don't burn that much fat. And if you're not on drugs, you ain't putting on all that much muscle in order to lose all that weight. Okay? So the point is, keep in mind that if you're overweight, you don't need to do anything. Just train and perhaps even lower your calories. And if the man already lost weight and he's at a comfortable level and he knows that he's no longer overweight, do what Sam said. Just eat more to continue to maintain the growth. Okay? You don't need to be ripped because when you're ripped, it's harder to gain muscle. But don't lose all of your definition either. That's my opinion. You guys let me know what you think in the comments.
6. What do you see yourself pursuing when your bodybuilding career is over? Coaching? Using your education? Going off grid? I don't know. That's too far in the future to even think about. I'm thinking days. I'm not even thinking days in the future. I'm thinking hours. I'm thinking I got to go home, eat my little post-workout meal, and then just go to sleep without getting into the fridge. Anything beyond a few months ahead, we'll just have to freaking see what happens. That's like off in the distance over the horizon. You know, I got enough going on currently. I don't know if I can think that far.
I understand totally what Sam's saying about not being able to think that far into the future. He's in a good place right now. He's making tons of money. The guy is achieving the goals that he wants. It's very hard to think so far into the future. It takes a lot of mental and emotional energy when you're dedicating your life to something like this, right? You can kind of sometimes, depending on the person, only focus on stuff like this, especially when he's currently like, 5 or 6 days away from his show, something along those lines at the time of making this video. And he is so tired, you know? It takes a lot of mental, emotional energy. So yeah, I could see only thinking hours in advance because that's all you can concentrate on. I remember when I was doing my cut down to 145, I was taking it minute by minute. 1 minute I'm not hungry. The next minute I'm starving. I'm tired. I'm amped up on caffeine. My brain ain't working right. My hormones are all out of whack because I'm eating no fat and trying to maintain muscle all at the same time. It was wild. So I totally understand where Sam is coming from. The one thing I want to touch on, though, is I hope that he has a long, healthy, happy future because I don't know what his dosages are, but we all want to see, hopefully, this man live a long, happy, healthy life. We already know that he's aged so much visually. His face has aged so much since he started because of the supplements that he's on. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope that he has enough time on this planet to be able to do that stuff. And, you know, if he keeps his diet in check and maybe, you know, dials things back every so often, things of that nature, he might be fine. I really don't know. Only time will tell, but I do wish the best for Sam.
After your show, what's next? Bulk coming anytime soon? I would say so. I would say freaking so. But not such a crazy bulk. I'm going to kind of ease into it this year. So after these shows, I'm not just going to go totally crazy like last year and just instantly start scarfing food and packing size on. I'll be a little bit more gradual. I want to stay leaner for longer, but kind of just have a, more gradual refeed instead of just a, nasty kitchen sink refeed like I had after my last show.
Love that he mentioned this. That's better for his health. Tapering up slowly, like reverse dieting, hanging out where he's at for a little while longer, slowly changing. Remember, like I said, there's different types of bulks. And so I think that's the most advantageous way to go about doing things. Remember, he's on supplements, so his body can do things that normal people can't. So just keep that in mind. But overall, that's, I think, the best way to go about doing things in general. Nice and slow and steady.
Count me out. Can you tell my buddy Rick to do his cardio? Shit, man, I think I already did. Mr. Rickster. I tell you something. If you're not either pedaling currently or you have it on the horizon or somehow playing throughout the day today, I don't know what to tell you, but that's an unfortunate state of being. Because the fact that he's saying you should do it means you probably should. And if you're not, well, it's like, yeesh, freaking slacker, I assume. But we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Odds are you're probably a consistent cardio enjoyer, and maybe you just had a couple of bad days. Get back on the train, you're good.
Cardio, really beneficial for a lot of things. I don't know where this idea came from, or if I thought about it long enough, I could tell you where this idea came from. But many people, they discount cardio when it comes to weight loss. Cardio is a huge deal, guys. If you want to lose weight, cardio is great. I lost all my weight doing no dedicated cardio. Technically, I guess it was dedicated, but I just elected to walk everywhere. So like if I could drive to the store and that would have been 15 minutes, a 15-minute drive, I would walk to the store. It might take me an hour there and then an hour back carrying heavy groceries, but I would do it. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. Everybody's circumstances are different. Everybody lives in different areas. I lived in a city, so it was very easy to do. But that's how I got my cardio in. And that's what actually allowed me to do bodybuilding, weight loss, and cardio all at the same time. Because if I was doing the bodybuilding, the cutting of the calories, and the cardio all at the same time, I would have ended up burning out my body and my mind. I would have lost it if it was intense cardio. So instead, I just did a nice, easy, walking was my cardio. I would use the stepper. I would build up those quads on the stepper, things of that nature. That's what I did. But cardio is really great. I have been slacking lately on the dedicated cardio, like on my bike or on my treadmill. I've been slacking because life, it has been crazy, and I put it off to the side. I don't feel as depleted, but at the same time, I don't feel as good as when I had more cardio in there. Then again, I am always moving around. We own a building, so I'm always fixing things. I'm always helping the contractors because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So I'm lifting stuff. I'm moving around. So I am doing my thing. I don't sit around all day by any means. There's always something to do. But I do hope one day soon I'll be able to get that dedicated cardio back in. I do miss it. Very important for your overall health, cardiovascular health. But also for weight loss. Don't discount it.
Zapier Degree 4129. How to get past injuries that don't seem to heal or are insufficient but stop you from training hard. That's a tricky one, I've certainly been there. There was a question a while ago, as I'm scanning through, that I didn't screenshot, but it was a good question. It was essentially just like a breakdown of all my injuries, and I've had a couple. I've had my knees have had some shit, and I pulled my hamstring. I've had intramuscular pec tears on both sides. I've had bicep tweaks, and I had a really crunchy rotator cuff for a while. It's just top to bottom. I've had random stuff. And the lesson that I've learned from all of them, from back when I was a little less experienced to now, is, all right, shit, I got a blinking red light and an alarm going off on my rotator cuff. Cut that crap out. Anything that's hurting it, anything that's like bothering it, oh, I shouldn't press heavy because it's hurting my shoulder. Do not do it. Just completely back it off, because the more you mess with it, the more it's going to stay injured. It's not going to heal right. And then now, instead of like, yeah, I had to back off on bench for a few months, it's, yeah, I can't bench anymore, period. You know, and I understand the logic of thinking like, I just want to push through it. It's fine. I can do it. It's just pain. It just hurts. You know, it's kind of like this sort of tough guy mentality. And I know a guy from college where I always saw him, and he's always complaining about his rotator cuff. And he's saying, yeah, benching really hurts my freaking shoulder. I don't know what's going on. And then I'm watching him load weight to bench, you know, and it was uncanny. Every time he ever was doing chest, he's complaining about his shoulder. Like, you don't think there's a little bit of a correlation there? You know, so if you got something, you got to really back it off. Just totally chill out on it. Let it heal, let it kind of recover, and then ease into it. You know, don't get caught thinking, oh, yeah, I'm back to 80%. And then try to give it 100% on something, and then you hurt it again. You know, if you get a random injury, you know, shame on nobody. It shit just happens. But if you hurt yourself again, and you knew you had an injury, or you knew you had a tweak, and then you still did something which compromised you later, well, that's shame on you, man. You know, there's no excuse. That's just foolishness. So I'm trying to build up my streak of non-injury. In an ideal world, I will never get hurt again. And that's a pretty substantial goal that I have now.
Really appreciate this insight from Sam. In the ideal world, we don't want injuries, okay? Now, when you're younger, you don't even think about injuries typically, okay? And if you are, you're doing something wrong, because you should not be young and injured. That, because of training, that should not be happening. What this gentleman said, what the guy Sam was talking about, the dude who's like got a problem with his shoulder, his rotator cuff, when he trains, he gets pain. Like Sam said, when that red light goes off, really, ideally, you want to feel or see the yellow light, okay? Just like with a stoplight, you got green, you got yellow, you got red, okay? Once it goes from green to yellow, that's when you want to see it and take note of it. You might think, oh, that feels weird. I heard a little clicking there. I heard a little crunching there. Be careful. Be careful, especially with your rotator cuff, but with everything. But if you feel something weird, that means something's wrong. Maybe your form's off. Maybe you're doing too much volume. Maybe the weight is too heavy. Maybe you need more rest because your body's struggling and it's not healing properly. Something that I appreciate Sam said is, if you feel something, cut it off. Stop it. I appreciate that. Typically, once you actually do the damage, whether it's like a medium damage or like a red light damage, that's when you want to take your foot off the gas. But something that you can do, as long as you feel comfortable enough to do it, is you can do active recovery. So what is that? Like, if you get injured, let's say you tear something, you have to stop training it. You have to, until the swelling goes away and you don't have pain anymore. But after that point, that's when you do active recovery, or what many people might call rehabilitation. But you can do rehabilitation even if nothing tore, broke, ripped. You can do it if you're getting pain. You work in the range where you don't have pain, okay? And you work at a much lighter weight. Much lighter weight. Now, the problem with that is, very likely, you're going to feel a bit, frustrated because the weight's so light. So what you can do, what I would recommend to people like that, is I would recommend blood flow restriction training, BFR training, or I think it's called occlusion training, I believe. Basically, you are using bands with a fraction of the weight, and it allows you to get to complete fatigue like this, like this. So if normally you're training with 70-pound dumbbells, right, and that's how you get to failure, if you put those bands on, those BFR bands, Yeah, BFR bands. If you put those bands on, you're getting to failure in a matter of like a minutes, with like not 70 pounds, because you cannot physically do 70 pounds even if you wanted to anymore with those bands. You're down to like 20 pounds. So you could train through the injury and continue to grow muscle. Continue. You didn't stop. You're still doing it, and you're protecting your joints and your ligaments. That's what I would recommend.
Lundy876, thoughts on the effect of highly processed foods and chemicals on the gut microbiome. Yeah, I mean, I would certainly agree that's probably, we're gonna have to make sure I'm still recording. I get nervous because I keep leaving the microphone off. But no, I think you can definitely throw your stuff off. Like right now, I think I've got a pretty good gut biome, eating very clean, just rice cakes, ground beef, canned tuna, even like, I don't understand what you guys, not you, but just when people say like that canned chicken is processed, nobody hates on canned tuna. Like, what do you think happens from chicken to tuna to put it into a can and get it cooked? Like, it's, but I think the cleaner you eat, you'll definitely sort of just feel in a baseline, like, steadier. My blood sugar's not going all over the place because I'm eating a bunch of food. Now, in an off season, I'm going to get a little bit more lax. I'm going to start really kind of grubbing and eat a bunch of more treats and things. But yeah, I'd say it's something to consider. Maybe try some like pre or postbiotic supplements or things like that. But I've never, even on my like nastiest bulks, I never really noticed any big issues or anything. So maybe it's if you're super sensitive, then I guess you might run into an issue. But if you're training like really hard consistently and doing your cardio, you can eat some junk if you want, I think. That's not a justification. I'm just saying, like, the power of a really good active routine is pretty good. There's guys who are walking around peeled where they eat a McDonald's breakfast and drink 2 Mountain Dews every day, but they're still really active all day, so it's, I'm not trying to say that's what you should do. It's just more of an observation.
Absolutely. The power of an excellent, most of the time, diet and a solid routine, in my opinion, is going to help you to avoid many problems. Now, your gut microbiome health, like Sam mentioned, you can go ahead and take probiotics. You can mix in those probiotics and those things that are good for your health. You can mix them in with your artificial sweeteners, with your junk food, blah, blah, blah. Not saying, again, like Sam, that you should be doing that all the time. You have to have a balance like anything else, right? But as long as you mix that stuff in once in a while, have some diverse plant foods in your diet, probiotics. You can take, what the heck is it called? Oh, man. It's that stuff that's good for leaky gut. I think it's L-glutamine. L-glutamine. I think it's L-glutamine. You can take L-glutamine, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, in order to help seal the lining of the stomach. Because what happens is when you have tons of processed food, when you have tons of artificial sweeteners, like many bodybuilders do, it ends up thinning the lining of your stomach. So if you have L-glutamine, it helps to thicken that and seal it up. I would go ahead and do that as well.
KG, and this will be the last one because I got to get my freaking butt home. What is your go-to ab exercise? The question is really what are your go-to ab exercises? But I really only have one, and that's going to be the kneeling cable crunch. So that's going to be where you're going up to the cable, be it actually not even be it, really just like the only regular kind of cross body cable that there is.
All right, and just as Sam's camera died at the end of his video, my camera is actually doing something weird, so I want to see if I can get this over with. They asked what Sam's best ab exercise was. He said the loaded cable crunch. Now, that's not a surprise. If you look at Sam's abs, they're quite blocky. They look amazing. His abs, his obliques, everything is amazing. He likes that because you can load it, but the interesting thing is, Sam, last time I checked, is in classic physique. You don't want blocky abs, thick obliques. You want a tighter waist. So what I would recommend for Sam, and I find it to be very interesting that he doesn't actually like concentrate on what I'm about to say. But I would actually say, since his waist is so thick, he would want to taper it in a bit for classic. I would say he should stop with training abs altogether. Stop with the loading of the abs, dude. You don't need it. Not for the physique division you're in. So allow your abdominals, your muscles to atrophy a bit. Stop training them. Allow them to shrink, and that's going to allow your waist to look tighter and for you to look less blocky. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would recommend. By not training them and allowing them to atrophy, it's also going to give him a better V-taper look because he's going to look less boxy, less blocky. And he can also work on different exercises like the vacuum, that everybody does. It's just like a vacuum where you exhale all the air and you pull your belly button in towards your spine. If he did exercises like that for his stomach, that would actually end up training the transverse abdominis, I think it's called. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I've had to talk about that muscle. But basically, you're strengthening that, and that allows you to physically shrink your waist circumference a bit, at least from what I've read. Whether that's true in practice, I've never done it, so that's basically what I've read. But, you guys let me know if you've heard of that. Anyway, hopefully this camera caught everything because my camera's acting a little funny. Catch you guys next video. Let me know if you like this video. Really appreciate that. Thank you all for the love and support. See you at the next one.